Hello, I'm Jeff Salkin. Welcome to Your Money and Business. We begin this week with an iconic music hall in Washington, D.C. The Bayou hosted some of the top acts in the country before it shut down over a decade ago. Now it's coming back to life in a new documentary that is called The Bayou, D.C.'s Killer Joint. Here's a look.
It was the place to go for Dixieland jazz.
Bayou, to me, was a quintessential rock and roll joint. You know, it was the flat black, boom, boom, boom.
Over its 45-year history, the Bayou nightclub on the Georgetown waterfront was a scene of a lot of famous firsts. And some legendary last calls.
The Bayou turned out to be the perfect place to have that experience.
Don't you ever stop, 'cause I'm a high moon to dream and I don't want to drop.
You have a whole history of the changes in American popular music.
And they're opening up the joint for one more night.
Wow, what goes on in this place?
And with us now in the studio is the producer of the film, Dave Lilling. Dave, thanks for being with us.
Thank you, Jeff.
Give me more detail on the dates of the Bayou. When did it get started? When did it close down?
The Bayou started in 1953. The Tremonti family and Mike Munley were partners. Then they had a falling out, and the Tremontis took it over. It ran from 1953 till its closing December 31st, 1998.
And the building itself is gone?
Yes, they did a historic search to see if there was anything why the facade should be saved. Unfortunately, now it's the site. It was the last undeveloped block in Georgetown. So it includes an AMC Lowe's movie theater, and they donated the theater for our premiere.
So how did you make the film if there's nothing left to shoot?
The film was Bill Scanlon's idea, one of the producers. He, in 1998, in November, saw an item that the Bayou was closing. He said, let's go down and talk to them. I said, okay, we'll go down. We went down, talked to the manager, Mark Milliken at the time, and we said, we'd like to go and be a fly on the wall for the last month. And little did we know what a rich history the club had, and that started the great hunt.
This has been a seriously long-term project then.
It is, and the problem is each time you started doing it, more doors opened. You found this footage, you found this story, you wanted to interview this person, you had to wait, do this, do that. Everything takes time.
You brought a little souvenir with you. This was just a piece of history.
This is the
why
last
is it meaningful to you? Tell me about it.
Well, I think it's about the people, whether you're in Washington, Maryland, or Virginia. This club meant something to you because it's about the people and the music. Many famous acts came into the Bayou, some on their way up, like U2, some on their way down, but very, very special stories that made the club a special place.
Tell me about the different musical genres that were represented there. It was sort of all over the map.
Absolutely. Started as a Dixieland club in the 50s. Then you had the early advent of rock and roll with the Telstars. We actually had a stripper there in the early 60s, Julie Gibson. Then you moved into hardcore rock and roll. You had comedy acts. Eddie Murphy and Sam Kinison played the Bayou. And then, of course, you had bands like U2. Dave Matthews played the club as a house band. And, of course, the legendary Eva Cassidy.
How did it fit into the larger music scene in the Washington area?
The Bayou in its time was the club to go to. Quoting Todd Rundgren, is there any place else to go? And no, there wasn't. Then the Bayou, with the challenge of the 930, which rose to prominence, and they both went in different directions. The Bayou stayed mainstream. They were bought by Cellar Door, by Jack Boyle. The 930, owned by Seth Hurwitz, went in the alternative direction. And DC thrived because of it.
For people watching who've never heard of the place, what do you compare it to? I mean, there's nationally, there's famous music clubs. Is there a parallel somewhere?
Well, I think you have clubs, you had clubs like CBGB's, you had the Stone Pony. I think it was a neighborhood place. It was a place that people met each other. you know, guys met gals. They went to hear the music, but it was all about having a good time. And that's what the Bayou was.
I'm also interested in how you made this project come to life. So this was a long-term project. It wasn't just you, a group of people involved. In some ways, even though you're a professional in the video business, it's easier for people now to do things in video just as the cost of equipment comes down.
Well, and also with the internet coming, more clips are available. That was part of the challenge of this project. And I have to thank my partners, Bill Scanlon, Vinnie Perrone, and Dave Nuttycombe, because without them, quoting Vinnie Perrone, all the smudgy fingerprints are on this project. This is a team effort. Without everybody's help, the Tremonti family, Tim Pace, Dick Bangham doing our graphics, and Skip Sorrell on the sound mix, these people made it a special film. It's not one person's film. It's a team effort.
What did you learn about doing a project like this? If you started work next week on a new one, what would you do the same? What would you do different?
Well, you violate the first rule because you're never supposed to put your own money into a project. I mean, that's like rule number one of films. I mean, our hard costs were, say, around $70,000. We're about $30,000 in the hole, which for 14 years, if you amortize it, it's not too bad. I mean,
on a weekly basis, that's not too bad.
But obviously, we still have hopes that a benefactor who loves the movie will step up. We're affiliated with two 501c3s, the Potomac River Jazz Club and the International Documentary Association.
So people were able to make tax-deductible contributions.
And they
that
still
was the
can
idea.
at Bayou.com. I have to get that plug-in. We also did a Kickstarter campaign, which was very, very challenging. We raised a little over $25,000, and Kickstarter takes their small cut, and that was used to defray some of the costs on the film. We sold T-shirts. We did a live party at the Hamilton, which had 600 people. We're very, very grateful to the local merchants who donated. The Hamilton, a great facility for music, donated it for free.
So if somebody was it doesn't even have to be a film. Somebody's working on a project. There's some public interest in it. Would you recommend Kickstarter? What do you learn about it?
The biggest thing with Kickstarter is that you have to be committed. You have to understand that you have to set a period of time. If it's going to be, say, 20 days, 30 days, 40 days, you have to be committed. And also, most importantly, you have to be willing to ask all your friends for contributions, because if not, it will fail. And you also have to ask your friends to ask their friends. It's really about getting the word out, understanding whatever your idea is, will it play? Will it reach enough people? And also setting, most important, setting a realistic goal of what you want to make.
Well, we're pleased that we can play the film on MPT next week. It's Monday the 25th, 9 p.m. What happens after that? I guess you're not done.
Well, I mean, we have some interest from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Cleveland in terms of the tapes, which we'd love to donate. Also, thanks to MPT's help in being our presenting station, we have 20 other markets across the country, Philadelphia, Cleveland, Kansas City, Milwaukee, to name a few, that want to air the show. And we've entered a couple film festivals. We're going to be in Richmond, concentrating on music documentaries. So there's cleanup work to be done, some financial stuff, and then we'll go from there.
Well, again, it's next Monday, the 25th on MPT. Dave Lilling, producer of The Bayou, thank you for stopping by. We appreciate it.
And we appreciate MPT giving us the platform and giving us 90 minutes. It really means a lot.
Very good. Thanks again.
Thank you.